Hey, welcome back to Dad's Space, a podcast for dads by dads. I'm Dave. Nice to have you here with me. I'm going to do some little math today on the show. 2, not 3. Interesting. What is this all about? Well, it's all about being crippled with choices. Like too many choices. Think of the biggest buffet ever, and you're starving and you're hungry and you're going to this big restaurant and oh my gosh. You mean I can start with dessert first? That's my go-to. And you're just overwhelmed with the amount of choice. And you don't want to make a bad decision, but there's so many things to pick from. What do you do when you're overwhelmed with choice and you have to make a decision? And as a dad, what are you displaying to your kids? Are you decisive? Do you make the right decision? Do you know how to do that? What do you do when there's too many choices? And how do you model this for your kids? We're going to talk about it here on Dad Space. So I'm glad you're here. 2, not 3. And I'm excited to share this with you. I think it's really going to open your eyes to maybe how you as a dad can demonstrate to yourself and to your family that too many choices might be the one thing that's getting in the way from making the next step. Glad you're here. So TikTok again has shown up for me and sent to me yet another amazing clip that caught my attention. And when I saw it, I thought of you. I thought of our time together here on Dad's Space. And I'm wondering if you're the type of person that gets overwhelmed and stuck when there's too many choices available. There's just too many options. And you're like, I don't want to make the wrong decision, Dave. I want to do what's right for me, what's right for my kids, for my partner. I want to do what's right for my life. But oh my gosh, so many flipping options. And I'm just overwhelmed. So listening to Simon Sinek, he had Trevor Noah on his show. And they were talking about this 2, not 3 story. We're going to get into more of it. But here's a little clip from the podcast where they were talking about this, which sparked me to go deeper and research this more to share with you here on Dad's Space. But here is Simon and Trevor talking about this 2, not 3, and the story of a shoe salesman back in the 50s. Here's a little bit more. This is what caught my attention and what sparked the idea for today's episode. So here you go. Listen in, and I'll meet you back on the other side.
There's a story about a shoe salesman in Los Angeles in the 1950s. And a journalist asked him, "What's your secret?" And he said, 2, not 3. If a woman comes into my store, I'll bring her a pair of shoes. She'll try them on. And she'll say, "Could I see that pair, please?" And I'll bring her a second pair of shoes. And she said, "Could I also see that pair, please?" And he'll say, "Which one would you like me to take away?"
Oh,
because what he found is when they had a choice of 3, they bought none. And when they had a choice of 2, they bought 1.
I love that.
Right? 2, not 3. Too much choice is overwhelming.
Oh man, I need to apply that to my life. You see, that's brilliant. I love it when people find the nexus of how you're supposed to do it. Because I understood it as a concept, but it's a nice way to think about it for anything, really.
And so what I've started doing in my life is I've added constraint, right? And I didn't even realize it until we're talking right now.
It's because we are so terrified of making the wrong choice. And rightly so, by the way.
Great conversation. And again, let's jump into the story behind that clip and where Simon was pulling this from. It's a very interesting story that takes you back in time. So we need to do a little time travel and head back to the past, back to the future. What is it? I don't know, something like that. I want to talk about how intentionally living with constraints, limiting your choices rather than seeking endless options and opportunities can help you as a dad and as a man to avoid overwhelm, make better decisions, and set a powerful example for your kids. So the shoe salesman's secret, which Simon was alluding to in that clip, the person here that they're talking about, his name was Ben Prober, a successful 1950s shoe salesman. Yep, there was a time called 1950. His unique approach, he would only ever present two pairs of shoes, two options, to any customer at any given time. If a customer wanted to try on a third pair, he'd politely ask, "Of course, but which of these two should I take away?" So that there was only two options in front of the customer at any given time. Not 3, not 10, not 35, 2. And any time that you wanted to see a third pair, it would replace one of the two in front of you, so you were only left with two choices. This one or this one. A or B. Not A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J. A or B. You can ask for as many pairs of shoes as you want, but every time you ask, something is taken away. And I love this. I love this as a base, a foundation for you and me as dads, to demonstrate not only to our kids, but to ourselves, that by limiting the amount of choice in front of us, we can make better decisions and do it in a timely fashion with better results, because we're not focused on every option. We're focused on A or B. It's a great foundation. I don't know if you've heard this story before, but I want you to take this away and put this into practice this week when your kids are looking for a restaurant to go to, or an event, or a show, or a whatever, a movie. This one or this one? Well, what about that one? Well, then which one of these two in front of you, the original two that you want to remove to make room for your third option? So cool. I think you should try this. I really do. I think when you plan out a date with your partner, where are we going to go? Well, we could go here, 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 there, over there, here. I heard this place is great. There, there, there. This has got great reviews. There, there, there. Too many options. What are you going to do? You're going to end up at home eating popcorn on the couch because you couldn't figure it out. Or you spend 5 hours trying to pick a show to watch on Netflix. It's time to go to bed. I didn't watch anything because there's too many choices. A or B. And any additional choice has to replace the two in front of you, so you're only dealing with two choices at any given time. Very interesting. This method that Ben Prober was using as a successful shoe salesman ensured that the customer never had more than two options to consider. The result, customers felt more confident, customers felt more satisfied, and they always made a purchase. When faced with 3 or more choices, they often left empty-handed or empty-footed shoes because they were bound by indecision. So, what are some of the key points here? We're all wrestling with a paradox of choice. Too many options can lead to choice paralysis. The inability to make a decision at all. Research and real-world experience show that limiting the amount of options helps people feel more confident and more satisfied in their decisions. So why do constraints even matter to us as dads? As fathers and role models, men face countless daily decisions that affect and impact not just ourselves, but our families. Embracing constraints, like limiting choices, reduces that overwhelm and fosters more clarity and helps model more healthy decision-making for our kids. When we're faced with multiple options that overwhelm us, we get decision fatigue. Again, trying to pick a show on Netflix to watch or on Amazon Prime, and you just keep scrolling through all of the thousands of options, never satisfied. And you just give up, shut the TV off, and go do something else. You run into decision fatigue. And that is a mental load that just overwhelms us. Constantly weighing out too many options drains your energy, and increases your stress. By simplifying your choices, whether it's about dinner, family activities, career moves, that next job, the promotion, the toy, the event, everything helps dads conserve mental energy for what it truly matters, and that's showing up for our family. We as dads need to teach our kids by example, by showing decisiveness and comfort with enough. You might be struggling with this one. Are you okay with enough? Or are you always looking for the next thing? We as dads can teach our kids that it's okay to not chase every possible option. This builds confidence, reduces anxiety. We make better choices because we're not afraid that we're going to make the wrong choice. It really encourages gratitude and satisfaction for what we have, and our kids will demonstrate that as well. So I have 4 practical applications for this kind of heady, thought-provoking story, an example that you can apply as a dad. 4 things. The first, limit options. This is for you as a dad and for your kids, to model for them and for them to copy you and do it for themselves. Limit options. When faced with a decision, narrow the choices down to 2 strong contenders, and if there's a third or fourth option that arises, swap it for one of the existing options in front of them. Never more options than 2 at any given time. It limits the scope, focuses your energy, and you'll make better choices. And then number 2 is use the which one would I remove technique. Even if you're not a shoe salesman, this is going to work for you. Use the which one should I remove technique. When your child or you wants to add another option, ask which current choice should be removed. This keeps the decision process focused and manageable. Try it with your kids and their toys. How many toys does your 4-year-old have right now? How many Lego pieces have you stepped on? Right? It's everywhere. Your house is taken over by this little human being. There's toys everywhere. There's toys in the couch. There's toys in your chairs. There's toys in your under. How did it get under your pillow in your bed? There's toys everywhere. And when you say to your kids, go play, they're overwhelmed by the sheer volume of toys that are available to them. Help them pick out of 2 and go play with those without not feeling like they're missing out on all of the other toys that are there. Help them to use that which one should I remove technique. And then number 3 is I need you as a dad to model being decisive. We as dads need to make decisions with confidence. Our kids need to see a dad who has confidence in the choices they make and the decisions they make for the family, for you as yourself as a dad, as a human being, for your kids, for your partner. They need to see you being decisive. Explain your process to your kids on how you came to that decision. Show them that it's better to choose and move forward than to get stuck in endless cycle and repeat of this, no, what about this? Well, what if I do this? Maybe that. Maybe, well, if I did that, then this would be that, and that would be this. Be decisive. Make a decision. Stand up. Even if it's the wrong one, make a choice that's best to you in the moment. Say it again. Do what you can with what you have where you are. Theodore Roosevelt. It's a great model for you as a dad. And when you're making decisions, do you have all the answers? No. Why? Because you're a human being. You're going to screw up so many times. You're not perfect. Do what you can with what you have where you are. Make a decision and show your kids how you came to that decision. And then number 4, reflect on satisfaction. When you limit your choices and make a good decision, then I need you to reflect on the satisfaction of what has occurred and what has happened. After you make this decision, focus on the positives of your choice rather than dwelling on what you didn't pick. This helps reinforce your contentment and reduces regret, and you're not going to spiral through all of the various options that could have been. Stop with all the could-haves. Stop giving all your attention to the could-haves. Focus in on the now and the best decision made with the knowledge you have, understanding that you do not know what you do not know, but you're doing your best with what you have. Reflect on the satisfaction of a decision made and rest in that. You made the best choice with the information you had. Now move on. As dads and as men, embracing constraints isn't about limiting our life's possibilities and options. It's about freeing ourselves and our families from the stress of the endless option loop. By modeling clarity and decisiveness, we help our kids grow into more confident, resilient adults who know how to choose a life well lived fully. So my invitation to you as a dad is to try the 2, not 3 rule this week, whether it's picking a family activity, choosing what to eat, or making a purchase. Share experiences and reflections in your family and with your partner so that you can work on this together. My hope for you as a dad this week, after listening to this episode, is that you're going to seek out practical ways to reduce your overwhelm. If it's simply just limiting your options to 2. I want you to make better decisions that you feel more comfortable with, more satisfied with, that lead to better results, and not get caught up in a loop of endless options and alternatives. I want you to be a positive example for your families by embracing the power of living within healthy, intentional constraints. These constraints are not meant to be restrictive. They're meant to be freeing. The endless loop of options is where you're being restrained. There is freedom in not being overwhelmed with the amount of choices. So my goal for you this week, put it into practice, 2, not 3. Never go beyond 2 options. And I would love to hear how you've implemented this recommendation and how you have followed this example set for us by Ben Prober back in the 50s. And I want you to imagine 2 sets of shoes and never 3. And this can be maybe something that unlocks your freedom to not be bound by potentially making the wrong choice in life. I'm sure this week there's going to be a choice put in front of you, and the options are going to be so various and broad that you're going to struggle. And I hope that this conversation comes back for you in that moment and you limit yourself to either option A or option B. And again, if there's a 3rd, 4th, 5th option, it can only replace the 2 options in front of you. Never be the additional 3rd, 4th, 5th option. You now have a 2 limit option. That's it. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Let me know. Thanks for listening. Hey, thanks for listening to Dad Space. Thanks for hanging out to the end of the podcast. That's a great sign to wherever you're listening to this podcast, YouTube, Spotify, Apple, fill in the blank, that this was a good podcast to send people to. So simply by listening to this point of the podcast, you're helping the show grow. So good on you. Thanks for helping us grow Dad Space. If you want to help us fill our cups over at Dad Space, head over to dadspace.ca. Dadspace.ca, simple website, right? Dadspace.ca. You can fill up our coffee cup, which helps us then to keep moving forward with the podcast and use our Buy Me a Coffee link over at dadspace.ca. Thank you for being here. Thank you for supporting the show. Thank you for coming back. And thank you for sharing. because the more dads we can help, the better. We're all here to help each other grow in community. That's what it's all about. And without you, podcast is pointless. There's no reason to do any of this. So you being here means everything. See you at dadspace.ca. Take care.